Okay, is everybody who is supposed to be here present and accounted for? Yes? Okay, wonderful. It is so nice to be here in the Temple of Beth Ahm sanctuary in person for a simcha. Specifically this simcha, I mean all simchas are great, but to have another generation emanating from the Strohmenger, Gable, Oberstein dynasty is amazing. We have multiple generations here today to celebrate. And so I'm going to start with a nigun, a song without words. This melody will recur a couple of times throughout the ceremony, and sometimes I'll add words to it, but you don't have to worry about the words right now. Just if you could try to follow me, repeat after me. Oh. Die, 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 your turn. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. That's part one. Part two. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. Your turn. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. Again. Die, 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 die. Die, die, da, 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 da. Slightly different ending. Die, 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 die. From the beginning. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. Die, 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 die. Before we begin the baby naming, we're going to pause to remember Lily June Strohmenger's great-grandmother, Jean Strohmenger, and her great-grandfathers, William Strohmenger, Saul Gable, and Rabbi Bernard Oberstein, Zichronam Livracha, who are unable to be with us in a physical sense today, but who are very much with us in spirit today. May their memories be for a blessing. Before we formally welcome Lily June into our midst for the official baby naming, I invite her parents, Stephanie and Bob, to read out loud a biblical passage that has excerpts from the books of Mishlei, Proverbs, and Devarim, Deuteronomy.
Shimi, Viti, Musar, Avich, Ve'al, Tichi, Torat, Emech, Torah, Tziva, Lanu, Moshe, Morasha, Kehilat, Yaakov.
Listen, my daughter, to the moral lessons of your father, and do not forsake the teachings of your mother. Moses commanded us to observe the Torah as the heritage of the congregation of Jacob.
Okay. Lily is going to be escorted down the aisle, probably not for the first time in her life, God willing, by her Savta and Granny, who are given the honor of they're known as Kvaterin. So we all rise if you can, and if you're home, you're welcome to rise as well, to welcome Lily together. And Lily's brother, Mark, will bring in the talit of his great-grandfather, Rabbi Bernie Oberstein, Zichrono Livracha. Okay, and I ask you to, the nigun that I just taught you, this is going to be our melody for the walking down the aisle. So we'll start now, even before the procession. Die, 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 Okay, you can be seated. On page 2 of the program, you guys can hang out there for a moment. We're all good. And please repeat after me the Hebrew words that mean welcome. Welcome to a baby girl. Brucha haba'ah. Brucha haba'ah. May she who arrives be blessed. Welcome to the world, little one. Zeh hakiseh shel Eliyahu hanavi zachor latov. This is the chair of Elijah the prophet. May he be remembered for good. Often at a bris, there's an actual chair, a kiseh shel Eliyahu, that the boy is held on the kiseh shel Eliyahu for the circumcision. Here we're doing a different kind of ceremony, and because of COVID, there's certain people who can't come on the bima, so we've had to adapt. So imagine a beautiful mahogany chair right here, and imagine Eliyahu. Just how we imagine Eliyahu at our seders, we're going to imagine Eliyahu and his chair right here. Okay. And if you could join me in singing Eliyahu Hanavi, which is Elijah the prophet. He is a character from the Tanakh, a biblical hero who appears in Jewish ceremonies on 3 significant times. 1, Eliyahu Hanavi comes to your Passover Seder. You may not see him, but he's there, and he's drinking that cup of wine. 2, you see Eliyahu Hanavi at Havdalah, the Saturday night ceremony that marks the transition, the distinction between Shabbat and the rest of the week. 3, you see Eliyahu Hanavi, Elijah the prophet, at a bris, or a brit bat, a covenant ceremony for a little girl. Eliyahu Hanavi was known to be a transitional figure, someone who comes up and into our lives in moments of transition. So in Havdalah, what happens there? We're distinguishing between Shabbat and the rest of the week. It's a moment of transition. At a Passover Seder, transition, we are celebrating the transition of the Israelites who were slaves and then became free. And at a Brit Bat and at a Brit Milah, the circumcision covenant ceremony for boys, in both of those occasions, again, we have transition from a baby not having a Jewish name to having a Jewish name, being brought into the covenant of the Jewish people. And the reason Eliyahu Hanavi is associated with these transitional moments is because Eliyahu Hanavi, when his death is described in the Tanakh, it's described as not clear where he's buried. In fact, it's not clear that he actually died in the literal sense. He goes up into the heavens, and we never hear from him again. So there's always the possibility he will show up again. So in Jewish folk tales and in Jewish rituals, Eliyahu Hanavi, he comes at all of these wonderful moments. So we imagine his chair, we imagine him, and we sing, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Bimhera v'yameinu, Yavo Eleinu, Im Mashiach ben David, Im Mashiach ben David. Okay, we're on page 3 now of this packet, and Bob and Stephanie are on again.
We are now ready to enter our daughter into the covenant between God and the Jewish people. For this is
Wait,
what
stop.
God...
Another take 2. Bubby can't hear
it.
So just a little louder.
Sorry. All right. Can you hear me now? Okay.
Whatever he's saying is actually on the sheet.
We are now ready to enter our daughter into the covenant between God and the Jewish people. For this is what God promised our ancestors. I will establish my covenant with you and your children as an everlasting covenant throughout the generations.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedeshenu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hachnisa b'vrito shel am Yisrael.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who has sanctified us with the commandments and commanded us to enter our daughter into the covenant of the people of Israel.
Okay, for our Brit ceremony, for the ritual that will symbolize the entry of Lily into the Brit, into the covenant of the Jewish people, we are going to be using a talit, and that talit has been brought over by Mark. Mark, although this is not your baby naming, you play a very key role. Mark, I have something for you. This actually says Big Brother, so it's also about you, because Lily's being brought into your family, okay? So that says Big Brother on it. Okay. And I'd like to invite Bubby and Grandma, Madeline Gable and Elaine Oberstein. Elaine is Bubby and Madeline is Grandma. And they're going to wrap Lily in this talit that belonged to Rabbi Bernie Oberstein of blessed memory. You're going to just be wrapping Lily in it like it's a blanket. And I'm going to sing that same melody we just used. I'm going to add these words. These are the words that Steph and Bob read out loud earlier from Proverbs and Deuteronomy. Shimi viti musar avich ve'al titchi Torah dimech. Shimi viti musar avich ve'al titchi Torah dimech. Torah, Torah, tziva lanu Moshe, Morasha, Morasha, kehilat Yaakov. Torah, Torah, tziva lanu Moshe, Morasha, Morasha, kehilat Yaakov. Now I'd like to invite Uncle Andrew and Aunt Emily Gable up to the bima, and they are going to read selections from Tehillim, from the book of Psalms, that are appropriate and relevant to baby naming and to talit, being wrapped in a talit. Go ahead.
Borchi nafshi et Adonai, Adonai Elohai, gedolta meod, hovahadar lavashta. Oteh hor kasalman, oteh shemayim kirya, tishalach ruchaha yibiriyun, uchadesh pnei adama.
Let all my being praise Adonai, who is clothed in splendor and majesty. Wrapped in light like a garment, you unfold the heavens like a curtain. You send forth your spirit, and there is creation. You renew the face of the earth.
Yoshev beseter elyon, betzel shaddai itlonan, omar ladonai machsi u mitzudati Elohai, eftach bo, bevrato yasech lach, v'tacha knafav, techse tzina, v'sochera amito.
For you who dwell in the shelter of the Most High and abide in the protection of Shaddai, I say of Adonai, my refuge and stronghold, my God in whom I trust, God will shelter you. You will find refuge under God's wings, for God's fidelity is an encircling shield.
Adonai yishmorcha mikol ra, yishmor et nafshecha, Adonai yishmor tzeicha, uvoecha me'ata v'ad olam.
Adonai is your protection, a guardian at your right hand. Adonai will guard you from all harm, will guard your life. Adonai will guard your exit and your entry now and forevermore.
Okay, those three selections from the book of Tehillim, from the book of Psalms, refer to God being clothed in splendor and majesty. When we wear a talit is a representation of being clothed by God, being sheltered by God. So that's why the other psalm selections from Psalm 91 and Psalm 121 refer to God as a shelter, as a protective presence, as a refuge, as a stronghold. We now continue on page 5. Steph and Bob.
We hereby pledge to raise our daughter as a Jew, committed to God, Torah, and the people Israel, We promise to teach her Jewish traditions, not only by our words, but also by our actions. We resolve that this new beginning will mark a renewal and rededication of our family to Judaism and to the Jewish community. We pray for health and happiness for this precious child and for all of those around us who provide love and support to our family.
Wine, grape juice, products of the fruit of the vine, symbolize joy and sanctification in the Jewish tradition. When we say a blessing over wine, we sanctify and celebrate joyous occasions, including the baby's entrance into the Brit, into the covenant of the Jewish people. So I'm going to invite up big brother Mark and his dad, grandpère Alan Cable, who will teach, get a kiddush cup. It's grape juice, not wine. Right.
Too bad.
And if you can't see from far, because you probably can't, it says "Sweet Baby Girl" on it, so you'll be able to partake in some of this. Not here, not now, but at some point, socially distanced. Does Mark want to hold?
Do you want to hold one more? No. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen.
You gotta take your mask down. You can't drink through it.
Nisht is nisht, right? Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll save that for you, Mark, if you change your mind later, okay? Okay, I'm going to recite a blessing known as Koret HaBrit. This is the same blessing that is recited at a Brit Milah, at the covenant ceremony of circumcision for a baby boy. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidesh yedid mibeten, el chayat chalkenu tzurenu, tziva lehatzil, yedidut she'erenu mishachat, lema'an barito. Baruch atah Adonai, Koret HaBrit. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who has sanctified his beloved from the womb, establishing God's Brit throughout the generations. May devotion to the covenant continue to sustain us as a people. O loving God, our portion, our rock, may you issue the command to rescue the beloved soul within our flesh from destruction for the sake of God's Brit. Blessed are you, Adonai, who establishes the covenant. If you would repeat after me these words, I'll say them first, and then you can repeat after me in the Hebrew and then the English. So first I'll say the Hebrew. Kashem shenechnesa livrit, ken tikanes letorah ulechupa ulemaasim tovim. Okay, your turn, and it's on the sheet, page 6. Okay, and I'll read the English, translate what you just said. Just as this baby girl has entered into the Brit, the covenant of the Jewish people, so may she study and live a life of Torah, so may she get married under a chuppah one day, and so may she accomplish many good deeds during her lifetime. Okay, Steph and Bob are on again. Page 7, if you're following along.
Thank you for joining us today to name and honor our newborn daughter. It means so much to have you with us in this celebration. We thank God for blessing us with our strong, healthy, and beautiful daughter. We acknowledge our responsibility as parents to guide our daughter to the blessings of Torah, chuppah, and masim tovim. We dedicate our daughter to Torah, to a never-ending fascination with study and learning. With a book, she will never be alone. We dedicate our daughter to chuppah, to never-ending growth as a human being, capable of giving and receiving love. With a loving soulmate, she will never be alone. We dedicate our daughter to masim tovim, good deeds, to a never-ending concern for family and community. If she cares for others, she will never be alone. We pray for the wisdom to help our daughter achieve these things, to be strong when she needs us to be strong, to be gentle when she needs us to be gentle, but always to be there when she needs us. The birth of a child is a miracle of renewal. We stand together today, awed by the miracle of our daughter.
And now the naming proclamation, in Hebrew, then in English. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu, kayem et hayalda hazot, le'aviha ule'ima, v'yikareh shema b'Yisrael, Baila Yochana, bat Ze'ev Ezra, v'Chaya Freda. Yismacha v'yotzet chalatza, v'tagel imaha b'fri bitna, katuv. Yismacha v'yicha v'imecha, v'tagel yoladetecha. Misha beirach imotenu, sarifka rachav aleha. Miriam hanivia, Esther hamaka, udevora hashofetet. Hu yivarechatana hayalda hanima hazot, b'mazal tov u'vishat bracha. V'gadla b'vriyut shalom u'menucha, l'torah u'lechupa u'lema'asim tovim, et aviha ve'et ima lirot b'simchata, b'vanim u'b'vanot osher v'chavod, v'yizaker d'shenim v'ra'ananim, ינובון בשיבה, וכן יהי רצון, ונאמר, Amen. Our God and God of our ancestors, preserve this beautiful little girl for her father and her mother, and may her name be called among the people of Israel, Baila Yochana bat Ze'ev Ezra v'Chaya Freda. May Lily June Strohmenger's father rejoice in the issue of his loins, and may her mother exult in the fruit of her womb, as it is written in the book of Mishlei, Proverbs. May your father and mother rejoice, and may she who gave birth to you exult. May God, who blessed the matriarchs, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, Miriam the prophetess, Esther the queen, and Deborah the chieftain, bless this precious little girl with good luck at this favorable moment of blessing. May she be raised in health, peace, and tranquility, to study Torah, to stand under the chuppah one day, and to do good deeds. May her father and her mother be privileged to witness her happiness. May this be God's will, and let us say, Amen. We're now on page 8. Zot ha'ketana ba'ila Yochana gedola tiyeh, yehi ratzon she'yizkorea legadla letorah lechupa le'ma'asim tovim. May this little one, Lily June, may she grow into greatness. May her parents be privileged to raise her to womanhood, and may she enjoy the blessings of Torah, chuppah, and good deeds. In the presence of Lily June Strohmenger's family, I am honored to announce her Hebrew name. In the Jewish community, when she is called up for an aliyah to the Torah and on other appropriate occasions, she will be known as Baila Yochana, daughter of Ze'ev Ezra and Chaya Freda. And now, Steph and Bob will speak about Lily's namesakes.
I want to thank everyone for joining us today for Lily June's baby naming. I'm so glad that we were able to put this together. We are so grateful for the love and support near and far as we welcome Lily to the Jewish community. From our loved ones in the temple, including our parents, grandparents, siblings, aunts, and uncles, as well as those live streaming. I would like to give a shout out to Grandpa Tom, who recently had hip surgery and is watching with Jake at home, and Aunt Lori and Uncle Howie, who are streaming from Florida, as well as all our cousins and friends who are joining us today. Lily's Hebrew name, Baila Yochana, is named after my great-grandmother, Bertha Trauman, and Bob's grandmother, Jean Strohmenger. Baila means beautiful, and Yochana means God is gracious. Both women were strong, smart, patient, and beautiful, always putting their family first and caring deeply about their roots, traditions, and religion. Bertha demonstrated these traits when she made sure her daughter stayed safe during the war. After the war, she came to the U.S. from France. During her life, she worked as a seamstress, always dressing beautifully. She loved watching the children and grandchildren play in the yard together, enjoying her time with family. Jean graduated from the Pratt Institute in New York and Red Bank Business Institute and worked as a legal secretary. She cared for her 4 sons, who gave her a run for her money. She volunteered for the Oceanic Fire Department, was a member of the Rumson Senior Center, and an active member of her church. God is gracious for giving us our beautiful Lily, who has completed Bob, Mark, and my family. We hope she has the strong, smart, patient, and kind traits as these women demonstrated. We wish for her to keep family, friends, and Judaism close to her heart as she navigates through her life.
Stephanie and Bob, by naming your daughter after her maternal great-great-grandmother, Bertha, and her paternal great-grandmother, Jean, you honor both of their memories. Our God and God of all generations, sustain and protect this child for her parents. Help her learn and appreciate the words of the Torah. Grant her the ability to love others and to be loved by them. May you guide Lily June to value family and community, justice and mercy, commitment and tradition, kindness and tzedakah. Page 9.
Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, raise our daughter into a life of joy, a life of goodness, a life of wisdom. May it be your will, Adonai, that our daughter be a peacemaker and a pursuer of peace between one person and another. Let her light shine around her to illuminate the paths of her friends and relatives. Strengthen our ability to guide her in the ways of Torah and faithful devotion to you. Give us the strength to lead her in the paths of her ancestors, whose heroic actions have shone brightly in all the generations of Jewish history.
A new daughter of Israel has been born, and with her great promise. In her soul is the potential to bring greatness into our world.
Within her are infinite possibilities, challenges yet to be conquered, pain yet to be tolerated, talents yet to be honed, dreams yet to be dreamt.
May you find strength in knowing how much you are loved by so many people. Know that we will always support you and as you strive to achieve your goals in life.
May your life be filled with health and happiness. May you surround yourself with family and friends who add richness and joy to your life.
Okay, now all of the grandparents and great-grandparents read together.
May our granddaughter be blessed in her journey through life, protected with the support of her family, the Jewish community, and the nurturing care of God.
Okay, Steph, you're on 2 more times. So since on the live stream you might not have seen who was saying these different parts, so I will tell you who was speaking from a distance here. The first reading was done by Savta, Ann Gable. The second reading was done by Granny, Lorraine Strohmenger. The third reading was done by Grandma, Perky Cameron. The fourth reading was done by Grandpère Alan Gable. And now Steph and Bob.
Lily June, today you have been granted your Hebrew name, Bila Yochana Bat Ze'ev Ezra V'chaya Freda, and you have entered into the covenant between the Jewish people and God. You will now and forever know your place in the world as our daughter and as a Jew. You have also entered into another sacred covenant, our family. We promise to always love you unconditionally, now and forever. May we be blessed to share in the joy of seeing you grow into an adult. As you make your path in life, know that we will always be there for you.
Okay, there's now going to be a blessing of the children. In Jewish tradition, there is a blessing that appears in the Torah in the book of Numbers, the book of Bamidbar, and it's known as the priestly blessing, Birkat Kohanim. And this blessing was originally the domain just of the elite priestly class. But Judaism has been democratized in the generations that have followed, and this same blessing that is the domain of the priests in the days of the Torah and in the days of the temple, today that blessing is traditionally done in Jewish homes around the world, parents blessing their children. And there's an intro to the biblical text one that's for girls, one that's for boys, but the biblical text is the same, the priestly blessing. So Steph and Bob are going to bless first Mark, then Lily.
Yismcha Elohim Ke'Ephraim V'Chinaseh. Yismcha Elohim Kesarav V'Chal
And then the Yivarechecha for both.
Yivarecha Adonai V'Yismerecha Ya'ar Adonai Panav Elohecha V'Yisa Yisa Anai Panav Alecha V'Yasim Lech.
And Mark is going to play the tambourine. Okay. And we're going to do a couple of these, and then you're going to do the English. Okay? Okay. Now we'll pause. We're going to play again to music, but first, Steph and Bob are going to say what they just said in Hebrew. They're now going to do in English.
Okay. May God bless you like Ephraim and Manasseh, who understood that wherever they lived, their Jewishness was the essence of their lives, who loved and honored their elders and teachers, and who cherished one another without pettiness or envy, accepting in humility the blessings that were theirs. May God bless you like Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, with the strength and vision of Sarah, with the wisdom and foresight of Rebecca, with the courage and compassion of Rachel, with the gentleness and graciousness of Leah, and their faith in the promise of our people's heritage. May Adonai bless you and guard you. May Adonai show you favor and be gracious to you. May Adonai show you kindness and grant you peace.
Okay, and the final page of the baby naming, page 11. And now, Mark, we're really on now, okay? You ready? Shalom Aleinu, Yavo Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu, Yavo Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu, Yavo Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu, Yavo Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom. Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Yavo Yisrael. One more song. Simin tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simin tov, mazel tov, simin tov, mazel tov, simin tov. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Ulechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Ulechol Yisrael. Yehelanu, Ulechol Yisrael. Mazel tov. And thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you for celebrating. Scott, there's a great photo op right here where I'm standing. So I'm going to move so that you can take my place. Right on this side. Like Scott. This is me micromanaging.
Beautiful.
How gorgeous is that, right?
Beautiful.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, thank
can decide what to do with them. How about that?
I need this as a souvenir.
Yes, this is for you to keep. Yes, yeah.
It goes in her papers now. Have a little booklet.
I'll probably pick them up that way.
Would you like some?
Good job, Mark. Yes, Mark, you and Scott are gonna take the show on the road, I think. Add him to the band. Do you want to give any info? Yeah. Oh, they're all three. Oh, I didn't get my one. They're good.
I leave them all over the place, actually. Back in the day when we used to have like, you know, the bar mitzvahs and stuff like that, my mom would always like bring a couple home for me.
So that's for you. So Mark?
Well, we were thinking she was
I know.
She likes music.
Yes, Mark, thank you for your help.
Oh, too bad Amy's not here. Would be. Love them.
The whole time I'm sitting there.
No, yeah, eat a whole handful. That is full. Eat one or two.
My pleasure.
Ready, 1, 2, 3, one more time.
So you had a little sword and shield, right?
Hey, I'll be the member.
Finish the booklet already. I'd like to get the car. I don't know, let me get it. Do I think he understands it? Well,
We need a baby.
My birthday, I had one picture. You know what? I know you.
We're always socializing, that we forget to get pictures.
Just do a family.
And then you can come in.
Just do a family.
more. No, yeah. There you go.
Okay.
Good, there you go, right now. Good, I don't need Scott anymore.
wanted to hold it up.
I don't need Scott anymore.
Michelle, I hope he pays you something, you know, for assistance.
Well, they were singing up there.
Scott, congratulations on the closeout.
Like that?
Oh, yeah.
See?
Yeah,
I
it's tough.
saw that, yeah.
That was very
Like,
nice.
like that.
I'm very proud of her. She really is a great
I didn't
job.
take any pictures. I didn't take any pictures. Because Scott took all. Okay, thanks. And Ross, I asked Scott, Ross,
It's a shame I can't record it.
Not for long in this room.
Well, that is, initially, someone was supposed to drop me off.
Right, so yes, you know,
I'm out.
his loss.
Fire boots. Next week, my hair's free.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
I
it
don't
doesn't look
know.
like something.
Like recording, doing it just a live.
no, it's recorded.
No, Mom.
It is
So
recorded.
some people
Yeah.
chatted, good job.
Lots.
Some people chatted Michael stuff.
Okay.
Shannon.
You know, one thing we're gonna be both saying,
Priscilla.
my mom went out later.
Yeah.
They say that. I remember when I was still there.
Okay.
We were having Shabbat dinner.
Okay.
And, so what time is it? Like, just getting there.
That's the house.
It's 3:07. It's good. We're really looking at leadership. Things where everything you go into thinking it's going to be a simple, like, well, let's just make this a little, oh, wait, now let's see. Yes, yes, yes.
Lost 3 times already.
Yes, yes.
She had one of them, it was okay, or something.
Half an hour, 3 days later. Police are happy with it, but it was, they're like stuff like.
Andrew, you gotta shout out for your Hebrew. Sandy shouted you out for your Hebrew reading. She said, Andrew reads Hebrew really well.
Yeah, you, Andrew.
Emily was like in the car, like.
Oh, Evan, was texting.
No, see, I.
Ceremony, Mazel Tov, Kula,
And none of them is.
What do you get, Mom?
I know, we should go now.
Okay, so this is for us. So we're going back to the house now. So if you want to come back, I don't know if you want to stop by, Michelle, I don't know. It's up to you.
You can go deep too.
It's nice outside, you can sit outside.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Yeah, because I think that's what a woman. I think that's the change, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Really, the only, really, it's Bob, Andrew, Emily.
But we don't do any
But you got,
appointments.
and then should we have those two right now the antibodies, so you can get finished?
So,
You don't really know.
I haven't had
Bob and
it.
Andrew don't, but Emily, you'll still be strong, right?
I had it like a year ago already at this point.
Oh, so then it's, yeah,
I
gotcha.
don't know, they don't know.
You worked for, oh, you had this school.
Well, I work for a nonprofit, but people are, they are, I just haven't gotten in a year, so I can't.
Oh, no, they don't have to know that. All you have to do is
What car you have?
I have the white car.
Here, why don't you go with Grandparents then and go home?
Whoa, white car doesn't have car seating.
Oh, it's our thing.
You wanna go?
So you know what, Daddy's gonna take you this out right now.
Actually, Dad,
I'm gonna do it. Good. Perfect. Perfect.
We don't look silly. Is it still streaming?
I don't think so.
Did you see me before? Did Lauren know it was me? Did you see me? What if other people are watching? Hi. Oh my god, hopefully she's the only one. Wait, did she say I at you? Or did she say we?
feel like you
I
were.
think back here I threw, yeah, yeah.
That's the other thing, I'm pretty sure